Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. This morning I was looking over the book I've mentioned a few times on this video blog before, Numerology and the Divine Triangle by Faith Giovanni and Dusty Bunker. There's a lot of different numerology methods taught in that book, which I have never mentioned. To do so, I think would be overwhelming and be a detriment overall. But that isn't to say it's not worth researching, learning about, and applying yourself. Because the better you get with this, the more you'll be able to handle, the more you'll be able to apply. Anyhow, within those methods, there's another method for getting the numerology of a year. And what you do is you divide the number essentially in half. So it becomes 17 plus 76. Of course, the United States of America, our birthdays trace back to July 4th, 1776. Notice it also has the number 74 in it, which we talk about much. Out of the 50 states, only one has a gematria of 74. It is the 33rd state, Oregon. Just like how Jesus was crucified at the age of 33, Jesus and cross both sum to 74, just like Oregon. So anyway, the year 1776 has this numerology of 93, the number of Thelema, do what thou wilt. Essentially, do what you want to do. When you think about the word freedom, that's essentially what freedom is, being able to do what you want to do. So think about that. The United States is found on this principle of freedom, and we're going to get more into that because One World Trade Center is also known as Freedom Tower. It's its other name, and we're going to show how all this connects. So the tower is 1776 feet tall, 1,776 feet tall, just like the year of our nation's first independence. One World Trade Center with Pythagorean gematria, if you add it all up, sums to 93, this number we were just talking about. So the name connects with the height. It's also referred to as the Freedom Tower. Freedom Tower with Pythagorean gematria sums to 66. And notice how freedom with Pythagorean gematria sums to 39, the flip of 93. It's in New York, the 11th state. If you add up every number 1 through 11, all the way up to 11, it equals 66. New York is the 11th state. Freedom Tower with Pythagorean gematria sums to 66. Freedom with simple English gematria sums to 66. If you take the original 13 colonies, get the gematria of each, then do its numerology, that means reducing each state to a single digit, and then add all 13 colonies, it sums to 66. The first highway built across the nation is Route 66. If I do the Pythagorean gematria of this right now, it's going to sum to 66. None of this is a coincidence, Truth Seeker. This is how well thought out it all is. If highway 66 sum to 66, that's probably what it would be, but it does not. So they go with Route 66. Thus why English has so many synonyms, I suspect, because the significance of gematria and coding numbers into words is older than the language itself, you see. I hope you're following me. As for New York, where One World Trade Center is located, New York with Pythagorean gematria sums to 39. Notice how the word new becomes 555. What do we know about that number? The Washington Monument's 555 feet tall and 5 inches. It sits across from the Pentagon of 5 sides, 5-acre court in the middle. You know, all these fives. The Pentagon has 5 above ground floors. New York, the abbreviation in simple English gematria, 14 plus 25 equals 39. Its date of establishment is 726. Notice how 7 plus 26 is 33. New York was originally established as New Amsterdam on the 33rd day of the year, February 2nd. The original governors were Clinton, which has a gematria of 33. Anyway, the full numerology of this date, 7 plus 2 plus 6 plus 1 plus 7 plus 8, sums to 39. This number, 3993. The United Nations there is 39 floors tall. In the Old Testament, first book of the Bible, it is 39 books. It should be noted that the New Testament is 27 books, thus the full Bible is 66 books. Remember, New York also has this 66 connection because it's the 11th state. 1 through 11 is 66. In numerology, this is how these numbers form relationships. They're logical, mathematical, and real-world pairings. On the Declaration of Independence, going back to our original birthday, there's 39 signers. For the original proposal for the Bill of Rights by James Madison, 39 proposals on the date of June 8th, 1789. This is a date with 39 numerology. The word Madison for James Madison sums to 39 with the S exception. Okay. So, True Seeker, with regards to September 11th, there was a 93 World Trade Center bombing, which came 3,119 days before September 11th, 2001. In numerology, the date 9/11/2001 can also look like this. And as I just said, it was 3,119 days from the 93 bombing to September 11th. Do you see the connection between these numbers? So much numerology. What I want to show you right here is this is Bob Kerrey, former politician from Nebraska who was on the 9/11 Commission. He's being interviewed by an independent journalist. He's asking about 9/11. He's saying we have to get to the bottom of it. I want you to hear how Bob Kerrey, a real 9/11 commissioner, responds.
We have to, or we can't save our country, sir.
I don't think. Well, if that's the condition upon which we're going to be saving our country,
Because the problem is it's a 30-year-old conspiracy.
Yes.
No, I'm talking about 9/11.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you are. You mean this?
Yeah. Anyway, I got it.
So did you hear what he just said? It's a 30-year conspiracy. The guy thought he was confused at first because he couldn't believe how long he said. And that's why he goes, I'm talking about 9/11. And Bob Kerrey goes, I know you are. I'm talking about 9/11. Well, True Seeker, it's more than a 30-year conspiracy. In 1968, this is 33 years before 2001, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, World Trade Center construction began, and George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. George W. Bush is born July 6, 1946. The numerology of this date is 33. This is the conspiracy of 33. On 9/11, Flight 93 had 33 passengers. Flight 93, 33 passengers. It also had 11 crew, thus 44 people, like the word kill. The World Trade Centers opened on April 4th, 1973, 5 years to the day of the MLK assassination. As for the 9/11 Commission report itself, where Bob Kerrey was just a part of, that report was issued on July 22nd, 722, the number having to do with cycles and circles, often coded into the hoaxes. The 9/11 Commission report completely neglected Building 7 of 47 floors. Okay, so moving on. In this video blog, what I'm trying to expose is that our nation is a Freemason creation led by Satanists who are into self-worship and religions such as Thelema, which is about do what thou wilt, connecting to freedom. But remember, this freedom, it's not for all, it's for the elites. So again, these people are numerologists. And throughout all their doings, they code it with their important numbers or numbers of significance. Further, for our nation's birthday, July 4th, 1776, another way to get the numerology for this date is to write it this way, 7/4/76. If you add in numerology this way, it sums to 87. Not by coincidence, the word birthday equals 87, as does the word truth. In numerology, 8 plus 7 becomes 15, 1 plus 5 becomes 6. So this is a number with 6 numerology as well. In terms of sick jokes, Truth Seeker, the One World Trade Center, besides its height, has got a few other numerological riddles on it, which we're going to get into. But before we do that, I want to come back to the tribute in light. After 9/11, these powerful purple beams were shot into the air. Each was made up of 44 powerful lamps, so 88 lamps total. The word purple with simple English gematria equals 88. The word poison equals 88. The word program equals 88. These were to represent the fallen towers. Towers that were opened April 4th, 4/4. So this number 88, it's of much significance. The name George Washington with Pythagorean gematria sums to 88, the nation's first president. The name Uncle Sam with simple English gematria sums to 88. Uncle is 55, Sam is 33. These are numbers of power. 8 represents the infinite in strength. And I suspect the elite in broadcasting this numerological filled symbol, unknown to most watching eyes, is a message that their strength, their doings, they're infinite. They'll forever be powerful. I think that's simply what they're taunting us with, but we don't realize that. We think it's a tribute to fallen towers. Really, it's a message of arrogance. Continuing with this message of arrogance is the opening date of One World Trade Center. It opened November 4th, 411, a number having much to do with death and assassination. Again, the original World Trade Center complex opened April 4th, 1973. 44 and 411 have a lot to do with death and assassination. Think about 4 times 11, how it equals 44. The word kill with simple English gematria is 44. The word assassin with Jewish gematria is 411. As for this structure, as they were going along the way, the first cornerstone was dedicated on 7404. It should be noted that the building is on the 74th meridian as well. 74 is the number of the martyr. Think about how Jesus and cross summed to 74. They were crucified at the age of 33. The World Trade Center complex came crashing to the ground after 33 years of existence. It first existed in 1968, the physical structure. The ground was commemorated, though, for the complex in 66, 2 years earlier. They planned to put the spire on April 29th, 4 plus 29 equals 33, but weather and wind made them move the date to 5/10, a date with a numerology of 15, the year we're now in. It almost makes me wonder, because if you can recall, Truth Seeker, on November 12th, about a week after the building was open, they had that scare with the window cleaning crew on the 68th floor. To me, that was really suspicious. Because again, the World Trade Center complex was first started in terms of construction in the year 68. And then they did a 68 tribute right away up to the new building. And also just look at this building. All the pyramid symbolism. So, I also want to talk about the Luxor Hotel, Truth Seeker. This building was constructed in 93, the year of the World Trade Center bombing. The slope, these angles are 39-degree angles. The address of Luxor is 3900 Las Vegas Boulevard. A lot of similar numbers between these two structures, and making matters more curious, Arizona and New York are the only two states that sum to 39 of the 50 states with Pythagorean gematria. If you can recall, the 2001 World Series was Arizona versus New York right after September 11th. The first one pushed back into the month of November. So, the Luxor, you guys, it has other connections to New York as well. It's 111 meters high. New York with simple English gematria equals 111. As does the name William Jefferson Clinton with Pythagorean gematria. That was not his birth name. Again, the Clintons are the first governors of New York. Bill Clinton was born Bill Blythe. It also has this 110-story or 110-foot obelisk out front. The World Trade Centers were 110 stories tall. And of course, this beam that's been shot off of the Luxor pretty much since it was opened is very similar to the beams after 9/11. So what awareness I'm trying to bring here is just how prevalent this coding is and how the symbolism is more than meets the eye. There is a number pattern here. I'm sure there's probably some ley line thing going on with the Luxor and World Trade Centers too. That'd be worth investigating. The architect, his name was Veldon Simpson. Look at the gematria of these names, 2733. Again, you guys, these numbers, 39, 93, they go back in history. James Madison made 39 proposals, which became the Bill of Rights, on a date with 39 numerology. Madison is a name with 39 gematria, S exception. Do his name Pythagorean, no exception. He becomes the meaning of life number, 42. And in history, just here's some more really bizarre stuff, you guys. The collapse of the Hotel New World. This happened March 15th, 86. Remember, World Trade Center construction began in 68. The numerology of this day is 33. Remember, the World Trade Centers had a lot to do with 33. In this collapse, it said that 33 people were killed. March 15th is the 74th day of the year. Remember, the cornerstone was laid for the new building on July 4th. It's on the 74th meridian. And its name gematria, Hotel New World, sums to 66. Just like Freedom Tower. Just like that connection back to New York being the 11th state. Before this, there was a major incident there, a major gas leak, carbon monoxide. The numerology of this date is super curious. It has 113 numerology as well as 33 numerology. It should also be noted that it changed its name to the 66 name in the year 84. United States of America, Pythagorean gematria equals 84. Obama in Jewish gematria equals 84. His birthday is August 4th. This building disintegrated much like the World Trade Centers. The total death toll was announced on March 22nd, 322. Remember, George W. Bush, the president for 9/11, was a member of Yale's Skull and Bones. This happened in Asia. This might very well have been a trial run for the World Trade Center complex. In the year 93, a tower also collapsed under curious circumstances. It collapsed on the 11th day of the 12th month. In the year 93 again. The numerology of this date is 116, the same as 911 flipped upside down. Construction began in 74. In the end, they blamed it on this water supply near the tower named East Creek. And look how they even put it in hyphens. Always messing with us. East Creek has the gematria of 33. So much of the same coding, Truth Seeker. And what I'm trying to get to is this is how the elite roll. This is do what thou wilt. That includes destroying buildings, taking lives, and lying. They are doing whatever they will. without any regard for the rest of us. For you Christians who dismiss others because they are not Christian, I invite you to think about this concept. Perhaps the elite don't care about the rest because they know we're not part of their religion. And perhaps they think, perhaps they even know their religion is the right religion. You see? And perhaps that's how their arrogance is maintained and they continue to do this to us over the years. If I'm correct in everything I've just shown in this video, this means we are part of a conspiracy that goes back to well before the beginning of the creation of this nation. As I've been trying to prove, our nation is nothing but the byproduct of the New World Order, which is really an old world order, and one that continues to expand so long as humanity does not fight against it. So again, Truth Seeker, eyes open. Hope you learned a few new things. And if you ever see the One World Trade Center come crashing down in your lifetime, again, it will be because it was planned from the beginning. It was always the agenda. And I suspect that we might see this, especially with the April 11th opening date. Do what thou wilt. Thelema, Satan, Saturn, all the numbers come together. Saturn has that gematria of 93, like what is worshipped in Thelema. All right, Truth Seeker. Until next time.